Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a great weekend. So it's non-farm payroll week, and I will only be trading Monday and Tuesday because I just find that the price action Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is just less than optimal. Already, I'm just looking at the chart this morning on the 5-minute, and we already have lots of wicks, reversals, retracements. So we'll see what happens. I'm just going to go through my chart as always. Welcome this morning. I'm in the process of making some coffee, so in a couple minutes I'm just gonna go and grab my coffee. Yeah, good morning. We're gonna take a look at the chart. Start from the higher time frame to the lower time frame and just see what's happening here. Okay, so on the higher time frame on the daily chart, we saw last Friday we anticipated that price would move into the daily SIBI, which it did. Let's see here. Just going to take that out. So we anticipated it would move into this daily SIBI here, and it did. It went all the way up, and overnight we had a continuation upwards. This is take that off the daily. Okay. All right, so some of the key things that I have on my chart this morning that I'm looking for. If price continues in an upwardly direction, we have this daily SIBI here that it could retrace to. You could, if you want, take a look at the optimal trade entry level, which would be 62 to 79% of this leg down. So you could throw that on your chart if you are interested in kind of taking a look at that statistic. But we've got news at 10 a.m. So I've made a note of that. You should probably make a note of that as well. We've got 10 a.m. news. So anyway, so these are my two areas of interest here on the daily. Below, we have previous day low from Thursday, and we have previous week low, which is at the bottom of this wick. I also want to point out that the blue lines on my chart are always on the higher time frame, the higher buy side and sell side. So this is my buy side on the higher level, and this is my sell side down here. And we have multiple touches. I put something down so my mouse doesn't bounce around because it's probably sounding annoying to you guys. Hang on a second. So on the higher time frame on the weekly and the daily, these are my daily and weekly draws on liquidity, these really dark blue lines here. So this is my next area of interest. It's a daily draw on liquidity, and then down here would be my next area of interest, which is the weekly draw on liquidity. And then of course I have daily SIBIs and BISIs that are noted on the chart here as well. Then if we go down to the 4 hour, I've started to put in some of my vertical lines that normally I do with you guys, but we'll go through it quickly. I've got my midnight vertical, my 4 a.m., 9:30, and 10 a.m. news. So those are my vertical lines. I've also put in my Asia high and low, so we'll drop down to the 15-minute. And I have Asia high and low. We've already swept London, so price came up here. Price made a high this morning of 21,101. So we've got Asia low, London low. We've got our settlement price from Friday at 414. And we can begin to draw in the opening range gap, which will be significant. I'm going to put that up here. Opening range gap. Just going to put the date in. So that's Monday, March 3rd. And we'll just adjust this as price gets closer to 9:30. Just 1 second, guys. I'm just going to check my coffee. Okay, I have to start my day with my cappuccino. Just gonna put my headphones on. Can you guys hear me okay? I changed my settings and my microphone around this weekend, so let me know in the chat if you can hear me okay. And I'll try and keep my mouse a little quiet. I know how annoying that can be. Okay, so we've got a really large opening range gap from this morning, and I notice here also that at midnight, so here's our vertical midnight, and here's our horizontal midnight. So when I look at price on the lower time frame, I want to see where price has been prior to opening this morning, and you can see that for the majority of the evening starting at midnight, we have been above midnight. So my little rule of thumb is that when we are above midnight for most of the overnight, that we, or that I feel there's a good chance that price will go bearish. And when we are below midnight for a great deal of the overnight, that we can anticipate that price will go bullish. This is just something that I have noticed. And I believe that the trader Mulhand, who trades London and Asia, has mentioned this numerous times. The other thing that I've noticed this morning, if we drop down to the 2-minute, is we have this bearish breaker block here. So price came up, we've swept London. Price has come all the way up to here. Now we have a high, a low, a higher high, and a lower low. Let me just put that in to show you. So we have a high, a low, slightly higher high, not hugely, and then a lower low. And then we take the high to the low, this range of black candles here, and we draw our bearish breaker block. And within our bearish breaker, we're also looking for fair value gap. Here we have a SIBI that price has tapped into a couple of times. Now we've broken above it, but we're still within this bearish breaker. Ideally, what I like to see with a highly rated unicorn model is I like to see a fair value gap on this leg as well. I like to see 2 fair value gaps on opposing legs. We only have 1. And the other thing that makes a high value unicorn model is having something above that price has tapped into, like a fair value gap, order block, something like that. And in this case, we don't have that. So those 2 factors make me hesitate a little bit on this bearish breaker, but I'm just noting it on the chart. So it's just something to be aware of. And we'll just keep moving up our opening range gap. So opening range gap, 21,090, 21,899. So we're a little over 100 points. What ICT has said about opening range gaps over 100 points is that oftentimes price can continue on its original path before market opens, once the market opens. And that if price comes down into that opening range gap, that it may only be to the 25 percentile level. So let's just throw our fib on here. And we'll get our quarterly quadrants on there. And so the 25% level would be here. So on my chart, it looks like 0.75% because I've just done it upside down, but it doesn't, you know what, you get the drift, right? This is the first quarter. So we do have a draw up here. We have an hourly SIBI. So I've noted that on the chart. That could be a draw on liquidity. Good morning to everyone who's just joining us now. We're just going through the chart. And I have a 15-minute BISI down here. This pink area is our daily fair value gap that we had noted on the daily chart. So we've got an hourly draw on liquidity up here, fair value gap. We've got our opening range gap, and we have our 15-minute BISI down here. As well, on my chart, I have from last week this org from Tuesday, February 25th. See how helpful it is to leave these on your chart if they have not been swept through. So we did not sweep through that. That was from last Tuesday, February 25th. So this will be a draw on liquidity as well. Cheers, everyone. There's no greater way to start the day than with a cappuccino. But maybe that's just because I have an Italian heritage. Okay, so I think I'm basically set up for what I generally do on a every morning basis. I always check the charts early in the morning, like around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and just see kind of, what's happened overnight. But a couple things, we've got this opening range gap. That's certainly a drawdown. And then I'm mindful that we have been midnight over midnight. And we are still within this bearish breaker block, although I would like it so much more if we had tapped into a higher time frame PD array. Now let's note this on the 5-minute here. I'm going to put this on my chart. This area. It's only a 5-minute, so I'm going to mark this as my 5-minute buy side. Here's another area of buy side before we hit this hourly fair value gap. I'm just going to drop that on there too, just so I'm mindful of it. Okay, now I'm going to go down to the 1 minute, and I want to put in my pre-market high and low. So here, prices come to the top of the breaker and is reacting bearishly off of it. Okay, and just a reminder, we have news at 11 o'clock. It's manufacturing. There is no news tomorrow. And then we have non-farm payroll Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, guys, so where are you all from? You want to just dump in the chat either what country you're from or what city you're from. I mean, I'm here in Canada. Very cold this morning. It's probably around -15, -20, something like that. Let me just check and see what the weather is. You always know it's super, super cold when the snow crunches in a really loud way. Let's see what the weather is today. Yeah, I'm not too far off. It's -13. Oh, -20 today. It's going down to -20. Yeah, when the snow gets really, really crunchy under your boots, it has a very specific noise. That's when you know the temperature is really low. Having lived here my whole life. But we're into March, so we basically have one more month of hardcore winter, and then hopefully some signs of spring start to come. So I'm just watching this price action. Again, we hit this bearish breaker, but I wish we had tapped into a higher time frame PD array. Hello, is it Hosea Taylor? I'm looking for a retracement of 25%. Are you looking for that retracement near market open? For the retracement down? I guess there's a couple of ways you can look at it. As ICD tells us, we have a 70% chance of the opening range gap filling to the 50% level between 9:30 and 10 a.m. So right there is one confluence that price is going to go down. The second confluence we have is that we have a breaker block. Third confluence is that we have swept London. What else do we have here? Fourth confluence is that midnight at midnight. We have been above that all morning. And then there's different metrics that you can put on your chart. You can take a bearish breaker block and you can take your fib, and for this area between the high and the low, you can draw your fib on here. And you can look for your standard deviation. So here's your -2. Let me just draw this. So this is, you know, a possibility if you think the price is going to go lower. And that is between the 75 and the 50th percentile on your opening range gap. So that's definitely, you know, one metric that you can look at. Another metric that you could look at is you can take the run up of price. So let's say I would suggest that the London low would be a good place. And then take it to the high of the morning. And we look for our OTE, which is optimal trade entry. And we're looking for a retracement between 62 to 79%. And that would be here. That's another target that, you know, depending on what your trading strategy is, this is an area that price could retrace to, and that would dovetail nicely with this opening range gap. So let's leave, I'm going to leave that on my chart, opening the optimal trade entry area. So those are a couple of different things, depending what your strategy is, depending what you're looking for. You know, these are some of the metrics, some of the tools that we can use. And I want to finally just put my 1 minute sell side and buy side on here. My sell side. I can see a couple of places where we could put sell side. You know, we're looking for areas where price has revisited. And that number one just means on the 1 minute, guys. It doesn't mean that that's like the number one sell side place level. I would also suggest that we might put a sell side at the bottom of London. Caddy, is it Caddy? Are you looking for a retracement long? All I'm doing is I'm looking for clues on the chart. I never marry myself to a bias, so I don't know if we're going to go long and I don't know if we're going to go short. I'm just looking at clues that price is telling me where it wants to go. So this morning is 9:18. You know, it's kind of looking bearish right now. I think we have a few more confluences to support at least a bearish move early this morning. But we still have this buy side above us here, this fair value gap that is, you know, definitely a draw on liquidity. So I think we just have to kind of wait and see. And we've got some levels here that make sense. We've got our opening range 25%, 50% of this gap. We've got a bearish breaker. We've got our 2% fib and -3, -2, -3 off of this bearish breaker. And then we have our optimal trade entry, which is 62 to 79% retrace from the leg this morning, which would be London low to current high. So I think you really have to take whatever your strategy is. You know, those are some metrics that you can apply to different strategies. The morning strategy that I am looking for and that I trade every morning and will be for the next like 3 to 4 months, just for consistency's sake, is I take the opening range high and low of the 5 minute candle, and I wait for a break above or below that candle. Then I wait for a retest, and then I enter the trade. So that's what I'm focused on for my morning trade. And that is from a trader Although I trade predominantly ICT, I also follow a trader called, I'll just write his name out here because I think he's just such an excellent trader, Scarface. Scarface Trading. Do you guys follow him? Have you heard of him? He's just a fantastic trader, and this is his morning scalping strategy. It's the break and retest. Super, super simple. I've done quite well with it. I'm still in my phase of, I need like 3 to 4 to 6 months of doing it every single day to figure out if it's going to work for me. But so far, I really, really like it. So you can check him out, Scarface Trading. He's just a young guy, and he's from Canada. He's from a small town pretty close to where I live. He doesn't live there anymore. He lives in Toronto, but yeah, check him out. It's 5-minute break and retest. And I think he's giving tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think he's doing a video on this strategy. So you can check him out, but I highly recommend him. He's just one of those kind of like humble guys, and he shows brokerage statements. So totally legit. Plus he's Canadian. How bad can he be, right? So just keep in mind, guys, 10 o'clock news, right? So we'll just keep adjusting our opening range gap. Quickly take a look at ES. Hey Peter, what model do I play? Well, I'm familiar with quite a few of the models, but recently, like the past 5 or 6 months, I've really been gravitating towards, I trade reversals. So I use the unicorn, basically, which is, what this is right here on my chart this morning. So a breaker block, a couple of fair value gaps inside, hopefully tapped into a higher PD array, and then a good reversal. So that would be my number one play. Right now, as I just finished talking about, I'm trading the morning 5-minute candle strategy by Scarface. And he uses a lot of ICT concepts, but he keeps it really, really simple. So it's simple break and retest off the 5-minute opening candle. And you'll see on my chart this morning that I like to watch the 1-minute candles, but you can put on a 1-minute candle or a 5-minute candle. Those are my two favorite strategies that I'm just using, or I happen to see on the charts, probably the best. In conjunction with that, I do use power of 3. So if I'm going to go long, and that's my preference, is to always go long intraday, then I'm using power of 3 to be able to navigate where accumulation, manipulation, and distribution is. So finding that, really nice distribution that you can grab a piece of that, and that's a really nice trade to take. What do you guys like to trade? Have you guys settled on a strategy yet? It's 9:24, so we have a few minutes here before market open. Peter, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please forgive me. I love the 2022 model as well. That was the first strategy that I studied. And what I love about that model is that the fundamentals apply right across all ICT strategies. You know, we're looking for displacement, break of structure, fair value gap or order block, enter the trade. Like, that's the staple of the 2022 model. And I think for anyone who hasn't studied ICT, that's a wonderful place to start. That's the first strategy that I studied, and it has served me well. So absolutely 100% agree with you on that 2022 model. In terms of the breaker blocks, do everything you can to study them. It takes a little bit of time to get the understanding, but that is the signature move of a high value reversal. And these breaker blocks come up like literally, well, every day on the really small time frames. But when you get a breaker block on the 5-minute or 15-minute or on the hourly, that is a really, really high probability trade. And I believe that ICT says that the unicorn, which is the breaker block with two fair value gaps inside it, is the highest probability trade within the ICT repertoire. So take your time, go through breaker blocks, and I'll throw something on my chart after we finish the 9:30 open here that might help you. You can take a screenshot of it, go through the breaker blocks, and take your time in understanding them, because they will serve you well in your trading journey. You know what I'm going to do? These are the breaker blocks here, guys. Okay, so if you want to just take a screen print of this. So this is the bearish, so we're looking for a high, low, higher high, lower low, retraces, and then you go short. And in this one, it's the low, high, lower low, higher high, retraces into just below here because it takes out the stops, and then it goes high. So just do a screen print of this and study it. And the way that I learned it was I would just go through my charts like months, and I would just highlight every breaker that I saw on every time frame until I could recognize it easily when price is actually in action. So anyway, there you go. Peter, okay. Yeah, thanks. Guys, I'm just going to turn my mic off while I'm looking or tape reading for a trade this morning. So forgive me, but I'm just going to focus. And I think my dog is making a bit of noise. So I don't want you to disrupt your tape reading this morning. Peter, after price settles down here, I'll go over the breaker block with you. Because I think once I explain what's happening with where it takes the stops, the stop hunts, I think you'll see it. So let's just get through the next like half hour of price action here. Okay, team. So that was fast and furious. Yeah, 50% of the gap fill. Plus, here's our OTE, right? This is our optimal trade entry. So we took the low from London to the high, and that was our sort of target for possible retracement too. We had a breaker block this morning. And we had midnight at midnight. We've been above midnight for most of the overnight. So that is, I have found that to be a really accurate way of determining where price is going to go. Oh, hey, Awake FX. Oh my God, like my favorite trader here. One and done entry. Thanks, Awake FX. Thanks, Shane, for dropping by. It really means a lot to me. I have followed your channel. Hey, guys, if you haven't visited Awake FX, do yourself a favor. He has amazing videos to help you, like with all kinds of ICT concepts, silver bullet. Like, he just has a great channel, and I learned from Shane over the past 18 months, to be honest. He's calm, he's cool, he's relaxed, and he's been trading for more than 10 years, and he trades full time. So check him out, and I certainly continue to be on his channel, checking out his videos, because he's been a big influencer for me. So anyway, thanks, Shane. That's really awesome. Okay, so everything that we talked about this morning, all of the signals that indicated that, you know, there was a probability that price would go bearish. So let's just highlight those again. We had a bearish breaker block. We had midnight at midnight. We have been above midnight for the overnight. We swept London early this morning, and then we've re-swept it. This wick up here, this was a big indicator to me that we're grabbing price one more time, and then price was ready to drop. We had our OTE on our chart, and we even had our fib from the breaker block down to -2, -3, and -4, and price went to -4. So, and then of course we have the opening range gap with, according to ICT, a 70% chance that price will go to the 50% level of the opening range gap between 9:30 and 10 a.m. So all of those together, all of those confluences kind of tipped my hat that the buy side was likely the way to go this morning. Now remember, for price to go higher, it's got to go lower first. So we may have a reversal in this OTE, and we may very well go higher today. We just don't know. But one thing that I have worked on for the past 6 months is not over trading. You know, if I have a good trade in the morning, there's absolutely no reason for me to jump back into a trade. So yeah, so I don't mind watching. I'll continue just to do some tape reading here with you guys. Yeah, first fair value gap, you're absolutely right, Vincenz. Let me just drop that in, you're absolutely right. I didn't do that this morning, but let's do that now. So here's our 9:30 candle. So our first fair value gap is here. It's a SIBI. And as per ICT, he says drop in that first fair value gap of the morning, and price will likely want to return to that area. First fair value gap of the day, and we'll just extend that right. Okay, so there we go. Now something that I told you earlier this morning, that I trade the 5-minute strategy by Scarface. So I'd still be interested in If price comes back up to this 5-minute candle low here and rejects strongly, I'll go short again because that's his strategy. Guys, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. I had to plug in my computer, otherwise everything would be in the dark. Lovino, I hope you're feeling better. Let us know how it goes with your swing trading. Anyway, feel better soon. Thanks for joining us this morning. So if price returns to this 5-minute low candle, this red level that I have here, and then rejects, I would go short again because his trading strategy, the morning trading strategy is, I'm finding it to be really, really, really good. So if you want to check out his YouTube site, it's Scarface Trades, and he's a young guy. He's a Canadian. He grew up pretty close to where I'm living, and he has he puts his brokerage statements right on his channel, so you can just say you won't see him bragging about anything. He's just super cool and humble. So check him out. His strategy, the morning strategy, is really, really good. That's it's a scalping strategy. I'm just going to write his name again here, so you can check out Scarface Trades for his morning strategy, 5-minute candle, and also Awake FX with Shane. He's excellent for ICT strategies and just really explaining things in a really easy way to understand. So if you're looking, to up your game on fair value, silver bullet, I think he's got videos on there for breaker blocks as well. I want to see if we reject off here because I would take that trade. Thank you, Vincenz. Yes, 10 o'clock, red folder news. I shouldn't get so excited about taking another trade if price comes back to where I need it, because it is manufacturing news. So that's an important news factor. I think I'm just going to back off at this point. I'm really serious when I say the last 6 months I've worked very hard on reducing the number of trades that I take. And I think that was one of the main things that helped me to become profitable, is once I stopped all the dumb, stupid trades, you know, try this, try this, try this. As soon as I cleaned up the way that I used to trade that way, it made a significant difference to my end of month P&L. I'm going to link into the description of this morning's video Shane and Scarface. So I'll put their YouTube channels in and just kind of give them a shout out, because I think it's fair to say that all of us who are learning trading and trying to improve ourselves, I think we can all say that we have at least 1 to 3 traders in our lives that have been instrumental in helping us either find a strategy that works for us or just clarifying one of ICT's strategies, right? So definitely Scarface and Shane from Awake FX. The other one that's really helped me, although his videos can be like really rude, is TJR. He's a fantastic trader. He trades ICT strategies, but he has a very simple strategy. It's almost the 2022 strategy, but he uses the 5-minute break-up structure, and I've learned a ton from him as well. So, but I'm going to link them in my description, because I have no problem giving a shout out to people who have really, you know, helped to refine the way that I trade. So price continues to move down. Price is making lower lows, lower highs. Just want to switch to the 5 minutes. I want to look at and see where the 5-minute break of structure is, right here. So here's our 5-minute break of structure. Going to clean up my chart a little bit, guys, just so you can see what's happening. Here's the sell side that we identified this morning, which is London low, and then below that we have this 15-minute BISI. You can see here the imbalance here is quite significant, so price could be going for that. We have 7 minutes until the 10 o'clock news. So that breaker block this morning, that was okay. It's the unicorn. One of ICT's most high probability trades is the unicorn. We're now below midnight. Here's our horizontal line. So here's our vertical. Where's our vertical? Midnight. Here's midnight. So we were above midnight for most of the overnight, and that's why I said it's not an indicator, but it's certainly something on my chart that I look for every day. If we are above midnight at open, we're probably looking at going bearish. And if we're below midnight, then I want to buy, because there's a good chance that price will go bullish. Doesn't work on red folder days very well. I've noticed that, but that's because price is not respecting the algorithm anyway on red folder days. Does anyone here ever feel like they should have stayed in the trade longer and then kind of beat themselves up about it? I try not to be that way. And it's hard not to be that way, because I look at price still moving down and I'm like, oh, I should have just stayed in this trade. But, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? That's not gonna... I'm happy to get my trade in for this morning. It was a good solid trade. And saying I should have, I think, is just... I think it kind of beats you up mentally. So I'm watching on the 5-minute right now. I've got my 5-minute break of structure here. I'd love to see a retracement and then a continuation down, but with news at 10 o'clock, I'm not getting into anything at this point. We want to see the reaction on the 15-minute. Here's the imbalance here. So you know what? I don't even mind dropping a fib onto this. And we'll see if it continues down past the 50%. Let's watch that. Now, if you guys notice that last week, I think we had 2 or 3 setups that were identical to the setup this morning. I think it was Tuesday for sure. It could have been Monday, Tuesday, or Monday and Wednesday. But if you go back in your charts, you'll see that we had Asia ranged, which engineers liquidity. Then we had London, then we had a sweep of London, and then we had an absolute dump. So this setup, this is something that we should be looking for, because we, as price is bearish right now, we're on the sell side of the model. And so this setup is just showing up time and time and time again. So recognizing, just waiting, London gets swept, it moves up a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and then absolutely dumping after that. So we're just hitting the 50% mark of this fair value gap. This is the 15-minute fair value gap. For anyone who struggles with breaker blocks, you can just take a screen print of this. Just watching here, so it's 9:58. We have 1 minute until news breaks. Price has come to the 50% mark of this 15-minute fair value gap. I'm going to go down to the smaller time frame and see if we get a reversal model, aka breaker block. Also, we had our OTE on here. You can see that price came right into it, blew past it. So that that is really nice to put on your chart. The optimal trade entry gives you an idea of where price could possibly pull back to. You know, gives you a little target anyway. So I'm going to take that off, but I'm glad that we put that on this morning. Peter, any PD arrays on the higher time frame carry more weight. Look at this now. 10 o'clock news came out, so bet you manufacturing. So Peter, anything on the higher time frame just carries with it more weight. When I see a PD array starting to form on the 5-minute or 15-minute, then I want to drill down into the 1-minute because price is fractal. So then I can find a more refined entry point off a breaker block. If I see that forming on a 5-minute or 15-minute, that's higher probability, but then I want to move down in time to find the best entry that I can find. Because if you take a trade on the 5-minute or the 15-minute, your stop loss is going to be much larger, right? Because anything on the higher time frame, you're going to need a larger stop loss. So if you can look at price, identify something on the higher time frame, and then drill down to the lower time frame to find your entry, then that's going to give you a more refined entry and a much lower risk in terms of a stop loss, right? And depending on what you're trading with, or if you're in sim or whatever, if you're in sim, you should be simulating what you would do with a live account, or if you're trading Apex or Top Step, it's the same thing, right? If you only look for breaker blocks on the 1-minute, you can get tricked fairly frequently. So, but it is well worth your time to study breaker blocks because they are the foundation, the essence of reversals, ICT reversals. And so we have reversals every day. We have them in the afternoon reversals, morning reversals, Thursday reversals. So if you can study breaker blocks until you can see them, really, really easily, you'll be doing yourself a favor because they're very high probability. So price has been back on the 1-minute here, just oh, you're trading Top Step, Peter? Okay, yeah. Yeah, MX, MM, all the ICT models, Peter, dovetail, right? Like, once you have the foundation of ICT, so the blocks, the fair value gaps, the order blocks, the Fibonacci settings, once you have that foundation, you can trade any of his models. And I think it just gives you just well-rounded knowledge of how to study ICT. You can take all of those sort of independent ideas and then bring them together, and eventually you just come up with a model that you just see consistently and just works for you. The first phase of the MXMM, yeah, okay. I don't mind. I trade both sides. I trade the sell side and the buy side. It doesn't matter to me. I learned to trade in a bear market. It took me the longest time to be able to go long and feel comfortable. So I'm just, it's 10:04 here. Let's see what we can see. For a true reversal, I want to see a 5-minute break of structure. We're still very bearish here. I'm going to take out the opening range gap, guys, since we've filled it. For anyone who trades opening range gap, congratulations, good for you. It's 10:04. Just going to clean up my chart a little bit here. Take these off. I'm going to put Shane and Scarface in the description of this morning's video for later today if you guys want to come back and just check out their channels. Yep, Mark, exactly. Price is respecting the consequent encroachment of the 4-hour inverted fair value gap. Let's quickly zip over to the 4-hour. Oh my God, this thing is now literally following me everywhere. Let's go to the 4-hour here. I put it in as a 15-minute mark, but yeah, so the 4-hour is here. Thank you for pointing that out for everybody if you're on the 4-hour higher time frame. I'm going to take the unicorn off since I think we can all agree that that worked really nicely this morning. Let's go back to the 5-minute. Hi, Vincenz. Yes, I trade every morning live. This week, because it is non-farm payroll, I will not be trading Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I just find the price action is just not worth the hassle factor. So I'll be here tomorrow as well. Same time, same place, same channel, 8:50 every morning. I mark up my chart and then looking for that 9:30 trade. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I won't be here. So I'll be back to regularly scheduled hours on Monday. So every morning, 8:50 Eastern Standard Time. So where are we here on this gap? Down to the 50% of this imbalance. Let's see if price can hold. I'm going to take out this How long have I been trading ICT concepts? I started my trading journey with Terry Iomi. It's a course, I think it's the #1 trading course in the world, and I traded with her for 12 or 14 months, and I learned to trade not only stocks but options, and I absolutely love trading options. Then I was introduced to ICT. I have a trading group that I trade with in a private forum, and someone in there introduced us to ICT. So I've been trading ICT now for 16 months, full-time. I trade full-time, and I studied ICT full-time. So I have done the majority of his mentorships, including 2022, 2024, 2025, and I studied full-time his 12-month program, which I think is called the 2017 mentorship. That's it used to be a paid mentorship, but now he's put it online for free, and that took me, it's a 12-month course, but I did it in 6 months because I'm doing it full time. So those are the mentorships that I've studied. Hi, blue collar penmanship. Love the handle. Total newbie here. Great that you're here for us. Thank you very much. Hey, no problem. Blue collar penmanship. If you're studying ICT, someone mentioned earlier, I think it was Peter, that the 2022 mentorship by ICT, it's an excellent mentorship, and it gives you a lot of the fundamentals of ICT in one mentorship. And I think there are 28, 29, 30 videos in that mentorship. But once you get past the first 12 videos, the videos become much shorter because he then dives into the charts, and so the videos become much shorter. But for the first 10 videos, they're like Well, they're at least 2 hours long. So, but those are the fundamentals of ICT, and that was the first mentorship that I studied. And to this day, the 2022 mentorship, I think, is, you can open up a chart and you can find something using 2022. And the fundamentals of that strategy are PD arrays, so fair value gaps, order blocks. Price shows displacement, so it moves in a direction that's a very, very strong direction. Break of structure, so displacement, break of structure, fair value gap, enter the trade. That's the fundamental. And if that's the only thing that you study of ICT, it'll take you far. Blue collar, what I'm going to do is, I am going to link in my description after the video this morning. I will put his entire playlist of the 2022 mentorship in there for you, so that you just have to click on it once and you'll have all 30 videos. And take your time going through those videos. But that is the core, in my humble opinion, 2022 mentorship. If you can grasp the fundamentals of ICT from that mentorship, you'll be in a good place. And then the rest of the mentorships, you can take your time, go through when you have the time. For people who are raising kids or trading or working full time, you don't always have the luxury of coming home and watching 4 hours of video. You're not absorbing it, right? Because you're tired. So, but I'm happy to put that in my description. I'll put a link in for you, blue collar. And if you guys could like, share, and subscribe, I'll be eternally happy and grateful if you have found this morning's session to be helpful, and if you have enjoyed the session and learned anything or gained anything from it. I'd really appreciate it. You're 63 years old and just starting? Well, good for you. And I learned to trade in my 50s. I'm not gonna share my age. My grandmother always said, never share your age, to a woman, not a man. So listen, it doesn't matter what age you are. I think you can learn to trade at any age. You know what I really wish? I really wish I grew up in an era at a time where this technology was available. But let's be real. When I went to high school, the technology just wasn't there, right? It's because of technology that we have all these young people now on the internet and YouTube trading in high school. And I think it's amazing. I wish at that age I had had the technology to be able to have pursued trading. And I think that's why we're seeing so many young people being really, really successful in trading, because it's a skill. It's just a skill. There's no magic to it. It's a skill. It takes time. But how amazing would life be, honestly, if you learned to trade when you were like 17, 18 years old, and then you had that skill your whole life? How different would your life be, right? Anyway, I think it's amazing. I like to follow the young people on YouTube who are traders with their Lamborghinis and their Miami lifestyle. I just love it. I totally, totally love it. So, just brings a smile to my face all the time. Oh, thanks, Joshua. Glad to have you back. Yeah, happy to have you. I didn't have a cell phone until 37. I hear you. I'm not that far off, I tell you. Vincenz, 63 here. Okay, that's awesome. So Vincenz, I'm hitting my 3-year mark on March 7th, I think it is. March 7th is when I joined this course. I paid for a course and I started to study. And the real story behind me, and I'm going to do a video on this, but I don't mind sharing with you guys, is I was working for a company, and I was doing a lot of traveling. And on March the 7th, I fell and broke my leg in 3 places. And for me, it was just the impetus. I had already done my research on who I wanted to learn to trade from, and Terry Iomi She's a lady who went to MIT University. She became a teacher, an administrator, and then she put together this trading program, which is excellent. And because she's an educator, she really, you know, her program is very, very professional. And the real gain for me in that program is how to learn how to trade with options, because options are not easy to learn on your own. And so for me, I guess the richness of her program was learning how to trade options, which is a skill now I have for the rest of my life, which is fantastic. So I gave notice, and so I've been trading and studying full time for the past 3 years. And I'm just a newbie. You know, I consider myself a newbie. I hear these traders that are, you know, like FXAwake has been trading, I think, 11 years. I think I'll just be a student for life, and I'm kind of excited about that. And I love it. I absolutely love trading. I'm just so passionate about it. I could be on the charts, you know, tape reading literally all day long. And I'm just fascinated by the markets, and it just brings joy to my heart to be here on the charts. And I think I'll be studying trading probably for the rest of my life. So happy to have you guys along for the ride in the mornings. And I think we can learn from each other, grow from each other, and everyone, the more we share, the better we just become. You know, the collective experience is going to be just a lot better than an individual studying by themselves, that's for sure. Price here, it's 1016. We're very bearish still. I'd like to see price either come back up and retest right here. So if it's gonna continue to drop, I'd like to see it retrace up, give us another opportunity to get in. And if we were just to take the high to the low, find our OTE. So OTE again is 62 to 79%. So 62 to 79%. So this would be the level here that we would want to see price retrace back to. Right in here. So if price retrace back in and then continue to drop, if that's what it wanted to do. I'm going to take out some of this stuff because it's looking a bit cluttered. I'm going to take out some of my buy sides here as well, since we have already revisited. I'm going to keep my breaker on here as well. I find with the breakers, price can often revisit 2 or 3 times. Guys, if I decide to tape read on Thursday and Friday, I'll drop a notification in that I'll tape read, but I can tell you right now that I won't be taking a trade because non-farm payroll, the price action is so staccato. Like, you just see deep retracements. We'll see wicks wicking things out. Sometimes seek and destroy kind of price action. And I have found since I've traded less that it's making a significant difference in my trading. So I would rather have 2 or 3 really good trades, like 100 points each week, than to, you know, take smaller trades and be losing $100 here, 200 there, 300 there. You know, those losses really add up. Blue collar penmanship, what is tape reading? That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of walking everybody through what I'm seeing on the charts, what I'm expecting. It's trading without taking a trade, so we call it tape reading. Does that answer your question? Does that help? It's trading without taking a trade. It just helps everyone to identify some of the things on the chart that are significant. And guys, please, before you leave this morning, please share, like, and subscribe, and that will really help my channel grow, which I'm, for me, my next level of development is having these live trading sessions and hopefully sharing with others the way I see the market and the way that I trade. And if that helps someone else, that's awesome. And it really does help me become a better trader. And I think that's what we're all after, right? Is to get to our next level of development. At Blue Collar, if you subscribe to my channel, then you'll get a notification. You'll get a notification pop up in your YouTube if I decide to tape read on Thursday and Friday. So just looking on the 1 minute or the 2 minute right now, we can see that we are consolidating. Here we have a 2 minute break of structure. In a situation like this where price has been really strong bearish, I really prefer to see a break of structure on the 5 minute. I don't really trust the 2 minute for if I'm looking for a reversal. Change of character on the 2 minute. Like I say, it would be very cool if we could get a retracement back into either OTE or back up to this 5 minute candle low. Take this out. And then to have price dump back down again. That's a possibility. Or price may continue up and seek out buy side. It's like a good movie. I'm just getting like drawn in. This is like, you know, the trailer was this morning and now it's like, what is price going to do? Blue collar, am I here daily? Yes, I am. Let's put in our order block. This algorithm always amazes me. Like if you look at the accuracy, right? So we have the top of this order block here. Price comes down, it wicks the very top of the order block, right? It's like, it's just so exact. It's really incredible. Look at that. Look at the precision of this. You know, that's a great entry model in and of itself. I just want to see what the reaction is in the OTE area and this 5-minute candle level as well. So if you go into Scarface's YouTube channel and take a look at his 5-minute candle strategy, the strategy is good from 9:30 a.m. till 11, basically. So if price returns to this area and then heavily rejects, that would be an opportunity to potentially take another short, which I would be potentially interested in. So I just want to see. And once we get past that, then I think I'll close the live stream. But this is like, it's like a good movie. You can't look away. Yeah, the algorithm is for real, right, Vincenz? Like once you see it, you can't unsee it. So we're just above midnight. Again, using that idea or that framework that when you're below midnight, you want to buy, and when you're above midnight, you want to sell. You want to look for sells. So price dropped early this morning at open. We were above midnight for all of the overnight, so we dropped below midnight, so we want to sell. And price found its basement here, and that would be the time to buy, right? And then as it moves up above midnight, then we would want to find the ceiling and then take a short. Still, price is still respecting the 2-minute order block. This pink, that's hard to see. I don't like to have it all the way across my chart, but this pink is the daily SIBI, and we're in the middle of it. So we're still kind of in and around in that SIBI. Let me just jump to the daily so you guys can see. Just gotta zoom out here for a second so we can figure out where we are. So between this candle and, let me see where we are here. Let's just remark this one. Here's our new daily. That's our daily SIBI. If price can get above this, find its footing, find some strength, and then move up, that's a possibility. The other possibility is we hit the optimal trade entry area and price has retraced and then sells off further. Look at the 1 hour. Thank you, Peter, for pointing that out, the new daily SIBI. Appreciate that. Yeah, so this is what Peter's talking about here. So this pink box is our new daily SIBI. You can see that we've wicked into it. I'm on the 1 hour time frame here, so we've wicked into it, but failed to move higher. I still would like to see it come into like a more premium level, like this OTE. At least we came close to it. We came close to touching it, but I'd like to see it move up into a more premium area. And then, like I say, the possibility would exist to take a short from there. But at this point, it could. It could keep going up, but let's see what happens. This is an inverted SIBI here. So price reacted off this. It may want to retouch the order block before going up again. Peter, yeah, you raise a good point there, Peter. We might have closed the cycle of the market maker sell model. You could be right. And then honestly, like Monday and Tuesday, there's no news tomorrow. So price could kind of like bounce around tomorrow, but definitely Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's going to be like just not fun to trade non-farm payroll. If you guys have not had experience with looking at non-farm payroll, go back to the first week of February and look at the price action. Look on the slightly higher time frame, like look on the 15-minute. So the first week of February, look at the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Those 3 days from the first week of February, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The way that price moves, it's generally ugly. And it's usually high resistance liquidity. So you'll see long wicks, you'll see retracing, you'll see deep retracements. You know, it's really challenging to trade that. And I just figure, you know what, there's just better days to trade. So here we are, we tap back into the order block. Let's see if we move back up into the OTE here. So Peter, you know, to your point, we may see Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We may just see like price bouncing around. And then next week will probably be a better week to trade and see whether indeed the market has completed the sell side model. And if we start, you know, if we see a nice higher time frame reversal with a breaker block, guys, to start a new cycle. Ideally, that would be but even today, look at this, like I'm on the 2 minute. Sometimes the 1 minute, you know, it's so much noise. So sometimes I like to have the 2 minute, but look at the wicks, the retracements, right back down to the order block again. Like, you know what, there's nothing about this that is attractive for me. Like I say, if price moved back up to the OTE and then sold off again from there, I could get down with that. I could get down with that trade idea. Time right now, it's 10:41. You know, the morning session really is 9:30 to 11, like to find a decent trade. For those who like to wait for a retracement or reversal, you know, maybe the afternoon. But, you know, ICT, the premise of ICT is time and price, time coming first. So I like to wait for the times that ICT encourages us to trade. So that afternoon session would be anywhere after, you know, 1:30 until 3 o'clock kind of thing. You know, trade with the algorithm, trade with the strength of the algorithm. Why fight gravity? So if you look at like the price action right now, you know, you think to yourself, like, where would I put my stop loss? Because look at the size of these wicks, right? So unless you're prepared to have a stop loss that is quite large, the wicks are just, you know, they just cause chaos. I have to take my dog out for a walk between the morning session and the afternoon session. Okay, well, if you guys don't mind, I think what I'm going to do is call it a morning. It was a good morning session. I think that, you know, we kind of called it on here that bearish was the movement of the morning, and indeed that did happen. We talked about breaker blocks. I talked about a couple of traders and their sites that you might want to check out, and I will put the link in for that. And I will drop the link in for the 2022 ICT mentorship. For those who have not studied that mentorship, it will provide a very, very good baseline of the key fundamentals of ICT trading strategy. And it's certainly served me well over the past 14 to 16 months. I'm going to give it a few minutes here to see if price can make it up to that 5-minute low candle OTE area again. And guys, this video won't be posted until like 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, because by the time I put all the links in and stuff, and I gotta take my dog out. Peter, every day, 8:50 in the morning to mark up my chart, and then 9:30 open. Except this week, I won't be here. I don't think I'll be here Thursday and Friday. Wednesday through Friday I will not be here, but if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get a notification when I'm going live. But just count on the fact I'll be here every morning, except this week because of non-farm payroll. Yeah, look at this silly price action here. Okay, guys, I'm going to call it a day. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and good luck in your studying and your tape reading, and thanks for contributing to the discussion and the analysis this morning, because I truly appreciate you being here. All right then, guys, as we say in Italy, ciao.